So you're tuned in because, well, you want to know more about great sex, right? It's pretty fundamental.
Absolutely. It's something most people think about.
And today, we're really going to dive deep into how to make that happen. We're moving past the basics.
Exactly. We've got this fantastic guide, really rich source material that gets into the core stuff.
Yeah, things like intimacy, the physical side, obviously, but also mindset, even some pretty interesting
The
techniques.
techniques you might not have thought about, yeah. And the goal isn't just to read from a textbook.
No, definitely not. We want to unlock some real understanding, maybe some aha moments for enhancing pleasure.
Make it practical, give people insights they can actually use. That's the aim.
Okay, so first up, the guide really hammers home this idea of intimacy and self-love as the foundation. It's not just physical, is it?
Not at all. That emotional connection, it's presented as, well, essential, like the bedrock.
Bedrock, I like that.
Yeah, trust, open communication. These things build safety. When you feel safe and understood, intimacy just naturally deepens.
And that translates into the bedroom, presumably. Fewer misunderstandings.
Definitely. It paves the way for, a more connected experience overall.
And what about the self-love part? The guide makes a big deal of that. Why is it so important for sex?
Well, the thinking is if you have that solid self-worth, that confidence, you're not constantly looking to your partner for validation.
Ah, okay. So you're less needy, maybe.
Sort of, yeah. It fosters a healthier dynamic. You bring your whole self secure in who you are rather than seeking approval. Less anxiety, more freedom to enjoy.
Makes sense. Hard to be present if you're full of self-doubt.
Yeah.
Now, the guide also talks about understanding your own body. It even lists erogenous zones.
Right. The pleasure
So
hotspots.
beyond the obvious ones.
Well, it mentions vagina, penis, vulva, clitoris, prostate, perineum, anus, scrotum, the primary areas. But, and this is key,
It's different for everyone.
exactly, super individual. That's why it also brings up the neck, butt, breasts, thighs, feet, mouth, nipples. Could be anywhere, really.
So it's about exploring your own map, finding your own X marks the spot.
Precisely. Self-discovery is huge, which ties into the whole sex cycle response idea, too.
Desire, plateau, orgasm.
Right.
How does knowing that cycle help?
It just gives you a better handle on your body's natural rhythm. Desire is the spark. Plateau is that buildup.
And orgasm is the release.
Yeah. Recognizing those phases in yourself and your partner lets you navigate things with more, let's say, awareness, knowing when to build when release is close.
Okay. And speaking of orgasm, female orgasm specifically, the guide had some interesting points challenging common ideas.
Oh, yeah. The big one is that satisfaction isn't only about orgasm for women. Pleasure is diverse.
And the pressure to climax.
Yeah.
Like every single time.
It can be really counterproductive, leads to faking it sometimes, which isn't good for anyone. It puts pressure on guys, too, unnecessarily.
So the focus should be more on shared pleasure, the overall experience.
Exactly, not just hitting one specific target.
Right. Okay. Groundwork laid. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Boosting pleasure. Achieving orgasm. The guide has tips for men wanting to last longer.
Yeah, prolong the experience. It's about control and awareness, recognizing that feeling right before,
The point of no return.
that's the one. And the techniques involve things like stopping stimulation briefly or applying pressure.
The squeeze technique?
Right. Squeezing the shaft just below the head, or even mental diversion, shifting focus. Topical sprays are mentioned too as an option.
That squeeze thing sounds like it needs practice.
It definitely does. Firm but gentle pressure on the frenulum area for a few seconds. It interrupts the process. Takes experimenting to get the timing and pressure right.
Okay. Now this next bit. Male multiple orgasms. The guide says it's possible.
Absolutely. It points straight to the prostate gland.
Okay.
Stimulating the prostate, either via the anus or the perineum, that spot between genitals and anus, can apparently lead to orgasmic feelings without ejaculation.
Even without a full erection.
That's what the guide suggests. Now, it acknowledges this might feel unfamiliar or maybe even a bit taboo for some guys initially.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But the potential payoff is multiple orgasms.
Significant potential for different kinds of orgasmic sensations, yes, for those open to exploring it.
Interesting. Definitely opens up possibilities. Okay, let's switch to positions. The guide calls some powerful for male orgasm. What makes them stand out?
Usually it's a mix of things like the level of control the man has over rhythm and depth,
Right.
the intimacy, like eye contact, maybe a sense of dominance or connection. Missionary, for instance.
Classic. Good for eye contact, controlling the pace.
And variations, like wrapping legs tightly, can increase sensation. Cowgirl gives the woman control but still allows eye contact.
What about doggy style?
Often mentioned for a feeling of dominance, plus easy hand access for caressing. Spooning is more about closeness, cuddling, lower effort.
And X-rated. Sounds intense.
Described as allowing very deep penetration, often with good access for clitoral stimulation, too.
So it's about the mechanics and the vibe, the dynamic. What about positions highlighted for female orgasm? Similar factors.
Very similar principles, yes. Comfort is big, clitoral stimulation access, G-spot potential, and the woman's control over movement.
So missionary again. Maybe for comfort and access by the partner.
Exactly. Spooning for relaxation and body contact. Woman on top is a big one. She controls everything. Angle, depth, pace.
Maximizes clitoral contact, too, often.
Yes, and pelvic proximity. Plus, her hands are free. Doggy style gets mentioned for G-spot stimulation and deep penetration.
It's interesting how some positions work well for both. Really highlights the need for communication, finding what works mutually.
Totally.
Now, the guide also talks about touch. Seems obvious, but it really breaks down how versatile our hands are here.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to underestimate. The guide lists like 7 or 8 functions for hands.
Like what?
Well, direct stimulation, obviously. Building arousal. Guiding your partner. Showing them what feels good. Self-stimulation. Achieving orgasm sometimes, like with G-spot focus. Controlling movement, depth. Using sex toys effectively. Demonstrating desire. Even physical support in certain positions.
Wow, okay. Our hands are busy.
They're incredibly important tools for connection and pleasure.
Okay, so hands. Essential. What about adding toys? The guide has a whole bit on picking the right ones.
Yeah.
Seems like more than just looks.
Oh, way more. First step. Know what kind of pleasure you're after. Vibrations, internal fullness, something else.
And the material matters, right? Especially internal toys.
Hugely important. Non-porous is key. Medical-grade silicone, glass, stainless steel. Easy to clean, hygienic. Stay away from rubber or jelly for internal use. They can harbor bacteria.
Good tip. What else?
Batteries rechargeable versus disposable. Noise level need discretion. What's his actual job massager, vibrator, dildo, cock ring?
Lots to consider.
And reading reviews is always smart. See what other people's experiences were like.
And for folks maybe a bit shy about buying them in person.
Online is a great option. Lots of reputable places offer discreet shipping in plain boxes. Privacy maintained.
Nice. Okay, any specific recommendations highlighted?
Yeah, the guide mentions a few popular ones. For men, things like the Fleshlight for realism, the Autoblow AI for simulated oral.
AI oral sex.
Right. And the Kiru Titan for vibrations. For women, the WeVibe Nova gets a nod for dual stimulation, internal and external.
The rabbit style ones.
Kind of, yeah. Dame Eva 2 is designed for use during sex. Unbound Gem, a glass dildo. Lelo Sona Cruz uses sonic waves, not direct vibration.
Sonic waves. Interesting.
And the Lila Aura 2 mimics oral sensations. But again, these are just examples. Best toy, EV personal preference.
Quite the toolkit available. Let's shift to fantasy. The guide suggests this can really spice things up for couples. What are the benefits?
It makes a strong case. Enhanced pleasure together, deeper trust from sharing intimate thoughts.
Builds vulnerability.
In a good way, yeah. Better communication about desires, and just generally heightens anticipation and excitement. Fantasies tap into suspense, risk, fun, love.
It's not just the scenario, but the sharing itself. How do you even start constructing a fantasy together?
The guide says, let imagination run wild. Don't worry about perfect plots. Focus on what actually excites both of you.
So brainstorm elements, like acts, clothes, places.
Exactly. Specific acts, outfits, or lack thereof. Locations, maybe different roles or power dynamics. Find the elements that ignite desire for both partners.
But bringing it up?
Right.
That can feel awkward. Any practical tips for starting?
Several good ones. Maybe create a shared list, yes, no, maybe, for different ideas. Low pressure start.
Like a menu.
Sort of, and you don't have to jump straight to full role play. You can keep fantasies private, whisper them during sex, talk about them first, plan them out, or go all in.
So different levels of engagement.
Right. Setting the mood, pacing, comfort, all crucial. And constant open communication, respecting boundaries, absolutely key.
And it mentioned fun things like leaving notes, buying related items, building that anticipation.
Yeah, little surprises can go a long way.
Okay. Now, the guide also touches on the submissive mindset. And this might be new territory for some listeners. What's the idea here?
It discusses this within consensual BDSM. It's about willingly taking a yielding role in the dynamic.
Consensually?
Absolutely. Consent is paramount. It might involve developing behaviors or attitudes the dominant partner prefers, could be interpersonal, household stuff, sexual service,
What motivates someone to take that role?
different reasons.
Mm.
Maybe a desire to please, feeling liberated by giving up some control, satisfaction, and service. The guide stresses compatibility, consent, communication are non-negotiable.
And trust must be huge.
Massive. Trusting the dominant, feeling safe. It can actually reduce stress for the submissive, letting go of certain decisions. It's usually gradual, sometimes formalized with agreements about expectations and limits.
So a conscious exploration of power dynamics. Okay, let's talk erections, a common concern. The guide covers reasons for difficulties and advice. Key takeaways.
Blood flow is the big physiological factor. Things like high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes can mess with circulation needed for a firm erection.
So lifestyle changes help.
Big time. Heart-healthy diet Mediterranean style is recommended. Fruits, veggies, healthy fats, whole grains. Blueberries, B12, leafy greens get mentioned.
And what to avoid.
Fried stuff, processed foods, lots of unhealthy fats. Also, nicotine is terrible for blood vessels. Smoking is a definite negative.
Makes sense. Exercise, too, for circulation.
Crucial. Good sleep is important, too. Nocturnal erections are a sign of health. And then there's the mental side.
Anxiety, relationship issues.
Yep. Anxiety about size, unresolved conflicts, they can definitely impact erections. Trying new things helps combat boredom. Managing stress is huge. And avoiding overly forceful sex that could cause injury.
It's really a whole body, whole mind thing then. Physical and psychological.
Exactly.
Holistic view.
Okay, final big topic. Sexual boredom in long-term relationships. Happens to the best of us, right? Very common, yeah. The guide stresses that it takes active work from both partners to reignite things.
So how? Surprise seems to be a theme.
Introducing novelty, yeah. Physically, emotionally. It gives examples like a spontaneous weekend away with lots of teasing beforehand. Or hotel role play.
Fun. What about practical tips for getting out of a rut?
Talk about it. Gently. No blame. Don't get angry. Try non-sexual changes in routine to shake things up. Maybe change your look if it boosts confidence. Keep learning together.
Little things too, joyful moments.
Yes. Romantic gestures, small surprises, quality time. It even details a striptease fantasy for building anticipation.
Okay. Any other quick ideas mentioned? Oh yeah, a bunch. Blindfolded play, watching porn together, maybe mimicking it, sex games, different positions, different rooms, using all the toys.
Exploring dominance bondage, consensually.
Right. Sharing fantasies, acting them out, using different textures and foreplay, erotic massage, lots of avenues to explore.
It really sounds like intentional effort and creativity are key to keeping things vibrant. That's the core message. It requires ongoing effort and communication.
So we've covered a lot today. Intimacy, self-love, pleasure techniques, toys, fantasies, mindset, erections, boredom.
If you have to boil down the main takeaway from our source.
I'd say it's that truly fulfilling sex is possible,
Yeah.
but it comes through knowledge, trying things out, and most importantly, really talking openly and honestly with your partner. It's a journey, not a destination.
A continuous journey of discovery and connection. Well said. So as everyone listening reflects on this, think about what sparked something for you. What idea might you want to explore?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe here's a final thought to chew on. Could consistent open communication and just a willingness to playfully explore, could that actually be the most powerful sex toy we have?
That's a great way to put it. Definitely something to consider.